So friends, in this video we learn about bean life cycles. So when a bean is created, it follows some life cycle steps, and some of these steps are optional and some of these steps are mandatory. In fact, there are so many life cycle steps that we will not be covering all of them, but we will be covering some of the mandatory ones and some of the optional ones. Okay, so this life cycle step, the bean goes through one by one. That is how the bean finally becomes available to the application code to use. Okay, so it follows some life cycle steps first. Okay, so let's see what are these steps. First one is constructor. So the bean is initialized here. The constructor is called the object for the bean that you have specified using annotation or XML is created. Okay, Spring uses reflection to create the objects. If you don't remember reflection, please check out the reflection section and revise it. Yeah, basically Spring uses reflection to call your constructors and create your objects. So this is a mandatory step. Okay, the second is dependency injection. So whatever properties you have marked with Autowired, all the properties, for example engine, will be injected into car. What you have marked it, the injection will happen. So this is a second and very essential step with respect to Spring framework. This is called dependency injection. Okay, it is also a mandatory step. Third is BeanNameAware. Okay, this is a optional, this is a mandate. Above two were mandatory, this one is a optional step. So bean assigns a name. If you have defined a name, it will pick that name. Otherwise it will create a name by itself and assign to that bean. Okay, this is an optional step. Fourth is BeanFactoryAware. Okay, this is also an optional step. So here the factory, if you don't remember factory pattern, check the design patterns. We studied factory pattern there. So the factory that was used to create the bean will be passed here, and it can be used to access other beans. Okay, so the bean factory is passed. The fifth is ApplicationContextAware. So here, like previously the bean factory was passed, here the full application context is passed. So here the full application context is passed. You can use it to get anything that is there in the Spring container. Again, this is also an optional step. Then we have post construct. This method is called after all the injection is done. This is also an optional step. So whatever needs to be injected in whatever, when everything is done, then this will be called. We will see with code also how we are defining this. Then is initializing bean. It's also called after property set method. Okay, so it is kind of an alternative for post construct. Okay, it's an optional step. Then we have bean post processor. So this method is called before init method of any bean. Okay, we'll see with code as well. Again, optional step. Then we have another one which is called, this is before and this is after. This is called after init method of any bean. Okay, so this one is called bean post processor after step. Okay, so we have these kind of steps. So let's see these steps with the help of code as well. So here I have defined these lifecycle methods for the car class. So this one is the the first one which should be there, which is constructor. Okay, so first of all this will be called. Then the second step is dependency injection. So wherever we have Autowired, then this will be called. Okay, then comes the optional steps, which is bean name. This will be called. For implementing this method, if you want to do something in this method, you have to override this BeanNameAware interface. Okay, so you can see that our car is implementing this BeanNameAware interface. This is an optional step. That is why you have to implement specific interfaces. Then is set BeanFactory. It will give you the BeanFactory. You can get any other bean from the BeanFactory, whatever you want. Again, for using this or calling this, you need to override this BeanFactoryAware interface. Okay, so you can see we have implemented BeanFactoryAware interface. Then is set application context. It will pass you the complete application context, whatever is there in the Spring framework. And for calling this and configuring this, you need to have ApplicationContextAware interface. Okay, so these are optionals. That is why Spring has decoupled them. If you want, implement the interface and override method. If you don't do that. But the first two are mandatory. Okay, that is why there is no need to implement any interface. Okay, then there is post construct. Here you don't need to implement any interface. You just need to annotate the post construct annotation, and this method will be called by the container. You don't need to place any call. Okay, then is after property set. Again, for this one, you need to implement this initializing bean interface. You can see here that we have implemented this initializing bean interface. Then there is post processor before and post processor after interfaces, so you can implement them. And for this, I don't think you require this bean post processor interface, so we have implemented that. And then there are some cleanup life cycles as well, just like pre-destroy and destroy. So for that we have used pre-destroy annotation. And then there is a destroy. For this you need to implement this disposable bean interface, and you need to call them. So if I run the code, you can see first of all it is calling the constructor to create the object, which is the first constructor phase. Okay, then it is calling the setter, because we are using setter injection. So this is the second phase, dependency injection. You can see we are printing the phase name also. First one is constructor, second one is dependency injection, third one is bean name. It is passing the car name. You can see that third phase has been printed. Then is BeanFactory. It is passing the complete factory. You can use it to get any object that you want. Then there is application context, and there is a fixed hierarchy in which this order it will be called. In the order I explained you the lifecycle phase, in that hierarchy only these lifecycle methods will be called. Okay, you can configure the optional ones if you want. If you want to do some changes in the default behavior, you can do that by overriding the methods and changing whatever you want to change. Then there is post construct, as we saw. Then there is after property set. So it is printing initializing bean after property set. Then there is these ones, post process before initialization and post process after initialization. You will see one by one they are being called. It is printing them as well. After that only your code is available for once these life cycles are done, then only your code is available to run your business logic. Here we are calling a drive method, but before drive method all these life cycle phases will get executed. You can see that these were not executed: post, destroy, cleanup, destroy, because these are related with when the application gets killed or the bean gets killed. So it is not possible to replicate it right now, but yeah, these are there. You can write some cleanup code and some logging in this if you want. Okay, generally Spring takes care about the cleanup, so yeah, these are less frequently used. Okay, so this is how the life cycle of the bean is managed by the Spring framework, and how you can add your customization if you want to. So stay tuned for the further videos.